A very good evening and a warm welcome to UBC News Tonight on this 21st day of August 2024. I'm Lauryn Masika Kazimoto, joined with my colleague Yusuf Asenyomo on sign language interpretation. We bring you tonight's news bulletin live from our headquarters here in Nile Avenue. Now, we start off with our first headlining story this evening. President Museveni has met and held discussions with the African Union Commissioner for Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy and Sustainable Environment, His Excellency Ambassador Josepha Sako, who paid a courtesy call on him this afternoon at State House Entebbe. Ambassador Josepha Sako was accompanied by the Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Honorable Frank Tumebaze. President Museveni and his guest discussed preparations for hosting the forthcoming Extraordinary Agricultural Summit of Heads of State and Government in Kampala in January 2025.
No, that's music for my ears. To wake up the Africans. When I make my speech, you should get me the figures. How much is Africa spending on importing food? I don't know whether you have the figures. We do. Cows, goats, bananas, manioc, fish, everything is there. So our job was to modernize, to commercialize. So it's good. Of course, it's not bad to import or to learn new things. That's not bad. It's good. But you add to what you have. When you hear that people don't have food in Africa, it is because of the colonialism, the dislocation, to dislocate people from their heritage. And then they don't know what. They start despising themselves. They start worshipping everything foreign. So I'm very happy for agriculture. Definitely, we are at home. Uganda is the place.
We had the Maputo Declaration in 2003, and then during the Maputo Declaration, it was really emphasized that we should start investing in agriculture and use our own domestic investment to attribute 10% of the budget to the agricultural sector. This is the CADEP, it is the only policy for transforming agriculture. In terms of the preparation, the technical preparation, we are on track. We are ready to really kick off our program. We are here for the validation of this consultative and inclusive approach that we made to shape the next 10 years action plan. So this is really the reason that we are here. We want to brief to you. We know that we are going to have the next ordinary section in February. So we want to anticipate our extraordinary.
Uganda's Prime Minister, Robina Nabanja, has praised the development support provided by the government of Italy and Avis, a civil society organization working in Uganda, for their efforts in equipping Ugandan youth with skills to combat unemployment. Nabanja made these remarks during her keynote address at the 45th edition of the Rimini meeting held in Italy.
Minister Robina Nabanja, on arrival at Prunia International Airport in Italy, was received by the Ugandan ambassador to Italy, Elizabeth Paula Napeyog. Nabanja is in Italy to represent the country at the 45th edition of the Rimini meeting. The Ugandan Premier is accompanied by the State Minister for Agriculture, Fred Wino Chakulaga, and the Executive Director of the Uganda Investment Authority, Robert Mukiza.
the people of Italy, to convey greetings from His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, and the people of Uganda.
Nabanja commended the Italian government and the Avis, a civil society organization working in Uganda, for the continued support, especially the skilling of the Ugandan youth.
We are happy to work with Avis in Uganda. Avis manages 29 projects that directly benefit a number of people in Uganda. I am informed that Avis invests approximately 20.7 million euros annually, and this significantly contributes to Uganda's development. We look forward for further collaboration in skilling the youth, but also in other areas that touch the population's lives.
Nabanja is also in Italy to foster cooperation with the Italian companies to support the Ugandan farmers in value addition to coffee.
Uganda is one of the countries that produce organic food, and 40% of the Ugandan coffee is exported to Italy. However, a coffee producer earns only $2 US per kilogram. But the companies in Italy earn more than $30 per kilogram. That is where we want to partner, so that our people who produce the coffee can also earn a living and develop themselves.
Stephen Tumukungize, a Ugandan youth, is one of the successful stories after he was trained by Avis in the coffee value chain.
And thanks to Avis Foundation that I got some of these skills and I got the exposure. And at this moment I'm speaking in Italy in the Rimini meeting. Italy is actually the biggest coffee buyer of our coffee in Uganda. It actually consumes or imports 40% of the coffee that is produced in Uganda.
The Prime Minister informed the Italians that Uganda is moving towards creating opportunities to the youth through digital skills for sustainable development. Nabanja was also hosted on Radio Maria, one of the leading Catholic-founded radio stations headquartered in Rome in Italy, with several branches of radios in Uganda and the rest of the world. Jingo Francis reporting from Italy.
Dr. Ruth Nankabirwa, the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, has announced significant progress in Uganda's oil and gas project following the signing of the final investment decision 2 years ago. She emphasized that the development of these resources is crucial to Uganda's economic growth, and once commercialized, it will have a substantial impact on all Ugandans. Dennis Segor reports.
The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development has assured the country that the oil and gas project is on track and that Ugandans are already benefiting from the downstream activities. This statement was made during a media briefing on the progress of Uganda's oil and gas sector.
Contracts valued at $5 billion have been awarded to the Tilenga and Kingfisher and Eco projects. And out of that, 7.2 billion approved by the Petroleum Authority of Uganda. Notably, $2 billion representing 41% of the total contracts awarded have been allocated to Ugandan companies, underscoring a strong commitment to local content and ensuring that significant benefits from these projects are retained within the country.
According to Dr. Ruth Nankabirwa, All necessary land for the Tilenga project has been secured, significant progress has been made on the East African crude oil pipeline, and the construction of the thermal insulation plant in Nzega district, Tabora region, Tanzania, was completed and commissioned on the 26th of March 2024, among other milestones.
7 batches of line pipe totaling 500 kilometers have so far been delivered to Tanzania, out of which 5 batches have been delivered to the thermal insulation system plant in Nzega. Civil works commencement, the China Petroleum Pipeline Engineering Limited, CPP, the pipeline construction contractor, has begun civil works at the pump stations and the main camp and pipe yard sites in both Uganda and Tanzania.
As Uganda enters a critical phase of its oil and gas project, the government is urging the media to play their part in educating the public about the benefits and opportunities rather than becoming agents of economic sabotage. She also provided an update on the progress of the Uganda oil refinery project.
The government signed a memorandum of understanding with Alpha MBM Investment LLC from UAE for the development of the Uganda's oil refinery. Since then, negotiations for the key commercial agreements, including implementation agreement, crude oil supply agreement, the shareholders agreement between Uganda and the company or the consortium. These began in January 2024 and are currently ongoing.
Dennis Igoa for UBC News.
The government of Uganda has resolved to immediately start the management of garbage at Menvu to address the apparent challenges in Kampala metropolitan areas. This was resolved during a meeting chaired by the First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Affairs, Right Honourable Rebecca Kadaga, at the office of the Prime Minister in Kampala.
The meeting that was attended by civil ministers, mayors, chief administrative officers, town clerks and development partners resolved to start managing garbage at Menvu immediately. This follows the stopping of dumping garbage in Entebbe because it has become a menace to the entire country, even affecting the operations of Entebbe International Airport. The mayor of Entebbe municipality, Lauryn Masika, says that they had offered a temporary solution to the problem for a few days. It has been turned into a garbage dumping site, which compromises the image of the country.
Honestly speaking, Entebbe was a temporary relief, which has outlived its reliefness. It's now becoming a problem for the country. If you go right now, the stench that is on that road, for those of you that have taken the time to visit, the stench is there. It's really bad.
Julius Motebi Nsubuga, the mayor, Kira municipality, says that as local leaders, they have been waiting for government to come up with a position on garbage management in the country.
To know what we would want to do is to have an MOU that involves us maybe with KCC, but with the central government of Uganda, so that we have terms and conditions that we can put. If it is temporarily used, I go back to council and explain that these are the conditions. If they are agreeable to them, that land we bought for garbage, not just dumping, but for recycling.
Sebufu John Mary, the Executive Secretary, Planning and Civil Works at KCCS, says that Kampala Capital City Authority is being underfunded by the central government, yet it's the face of the country.
There is a funding problem. The issue is the budget. At this stage, we are given 803 billion shillings, and it's because of some roads that we are now constructing. There is no budget for KCCA that is supposed to run a city, Madam Regional Prime Minister.
The Minister for Works and Transport, General Katumba Wamala, and Minister for Local Government, Raphael Magezi, pledged to work expeditiously to manage the situation.
I'm sorry to go back to the current problem when Entebbe is saying beyond today, no truck. And then we are saying we're going to process money to buy another 10 acres. This is government. It's not going to happen in 2 days. We have to engage these municipalities to allow at least 2-3 days of dumping of garbage in their areas. It's either Chira or Nasana or Mukono.
After the lengthy discussion, the first Deputy Prime Minister assured the people that the government is in control and the dumping and management will be at Menvu in the meantime as the government finalizes the Chitezi area.
So the land of Kira municipality in a place called Menvu, that's where we are going. Ministry of Works, the road. Ministry of Kampala, go and talk to the people. The ones who Mama is saying they are going to kill our people. Mama Kampala, Mama Nasana, and the other districts, please go and talk to the people that it's about their lives.
Government is currently developing a national garbage management plan that will be rolled out to the other cities and towns to avoid the recurrence of the Chitezi disaster.
Following the elapse of a 4-day grace period given by Entebbe Municipal Council leadership, KCCA has announced that the garbage will now be disposed of at Menvu Nansana landfill. The decision comes after the collapse of the Chitezi landfill, leading to severe disruptions in waste management, causing garbage to accumulate in various parts of the city.
The Kampala Capital City Authority acquired the Katabi landfill site as a temporary site for garbage disposal after the catastrophic event that happened at the Chitezi landfill, which cost lives and property. This site was supposed to harbor KCCA for 4 days. Despite efforts to secure Katabi Nkumba landfill as a temporary solution, the 4-day grace period expired on Monday, the 19th of August 2024. From then, KCCA leadership has been facing an uphill task in identifying where next to dispose garbage that keeps piling in and around the city, especially in markets.
You can no longer dump in Entebbe. One thing, the place in Entebbe is narrow, and depending on the environment there, we always carry 2,500 tons a day, which is not accommodative to Entebbe. So we have decided to leave that site for Entebbe for healthy reasons.
Here in Nkumba we have put measures to ensure that the capacity of over 170 trucks that was heading to Chitezi comes here. Now we have made interventions like grading the roads, having water bowsers during the dry parts of the days to ensure that the people are not as much affected as it would be with the enormous traffic that has increased in this area.
Fortunately, the intervention of the Office of the Prime Minister has yielded good in the struggle, resolving that Menvu in Nansana will serve as the new landfill for garbage disposal while long-term solutions are explored.
Resolution that has come out of a meeting with the local leaders of the municipalities and KCCA around the Greater Kampala metropolitan area has resolved that the garbage goes to Menvu, and that is where we are heading to assess the readiness and move from this place. But in the meantime, we are using it as we transit to the new space that we have been accorded.
After some few days, we are going to shift to Nansana, but we have a longer term management. We have investors who are going to put plants in Jadundu.
Justine Nakami, UBC News.
The government, through the Ministry of Health, is constructing a multi-billion intensive care unit at Hoima Regional Referral Hospital. The hospital director, Dr. Ibrahim Bwaga, says the intensive care unit will help them manage patients in critical condition, those in need of dialysis and neurosurgery, who they have been referring to Mulago and Chirudu hospitals.
Government is constructing an intensive care unit at Hoima Regional Referral Hospital that will serve 11 districts of Chiboga, Chankwanzi, Hoima, Kagadi, Kakumiro, Chibale, Hoima City, Chikube, Masindi, Chiriandongo and Bulisa. The hospital director, Dr. Ibrahim Bwaga, says plans are also underway to implement a cardiac surgery facility at the referral hospital.
Patients who needed dialysis, who are being referred to Chirudu, are going to be handled here. Those patients who needed neurosurgery, you've had an accident and there's a clot in your brain, instead of now sending you to Mulago, we are going to be handling them here.
The Hoima Resident City Commissioner Badru Mugabi says the hospital has been lacking such specialized services, adding that the construction comes in handy. He advised the contractor to make sure that he hands over the project within the stipulated time.
We have invested 8.4 billion shillings to have this ICU and HDU constructed under UPREP. It's being operationalized. We're also going to start having heart surgeries, cardiac surgeries and other highly specialized surgeries from this unit, since we're going to have all the specialists and
the site engineer, Excel Construction Company Karim Abdul, says the structure contains 2 floors plus the ground floor. Currently, the construction works are at 60%.
On the ground floor, basically there are offices, and then on the first floor we have the theater, and the ICU also is on the first floor. The second floor we have the HDU, and then offices for doctors and nurses on duty. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Hoima RCC Badru Mugabi has inspected the progress of construction works for a 2.9 billion regional blood bank at Hoima district headquarters.
A center for all the blood transfusion related services, where we're going to collect blood and process blood and blood products. So the region is not going to have stockouts of blood, because previously we've been collecting blood from blood donors, and then we take it to Nakasero blood bank for processing.
UBC News Tonight. Now, the FDC Najana Nkumbi faction expressed pity for their Katonga counterparts who have threatened to dismantle the unified FDC party. They advised the Katonga faction to leave the party peacefully and branded the recently organized National Delegates Conference as controversial and irrelevant. These sentiments were shared during a media briefing by Katonga faction leader Patrick Oboya Muriat at the FDC headquarters in Najana Nkumbi.
Earlier this week, FDC delegates and members of the Katonga faction from various parts of the country gathered at their Katonga-based headquarters for the National Delegates Conference. During the unveiling of the NEC report, Katonga Interim President Elias Lukwago, Chairman Ambassador Waswa Birigwa and other leaders revealed their challenges against the Najana Nkumbi faction both locally and in courts of law.
Also to report that we registered a major victory in the Uganda Road court case that had been instituted by the Najana Nkumbi quislings through a proxy, a one Jamalu Wante, challenging the legality of our national chairman. The court rounded throughout the case, thereby cementing the authority and the legitimacy of Ambassador Waswa Birigwa.
However, on Wednesday morning, the Najana Nkumbi faction responded, with their leader Patrick Oboy Amriat referring to the Katonga National Delegates Conference as a controversial gathering.
They purported to dissolve the FDC party under Article 36 of the party constitution. They also resolved to extend the tenure of the purported national leadership of the group.
Regarding the Katonga leadership and the conference amid the pending court cases, the Chief Whip Yusuf Nsibambi had this to say.
The delegates conference by the Katonga group was stopped by an injunction issued by Lord Justice Nambayo. In other words, the appointment of the leadership, which they call the interim leaders of the party, is also void ab initio, it's null and void.
The Najanankombi faction insists that the Katonga faction cannot dissolve or bury the FDC party in any way.
Only legitimate body that is authorized to engage in the process of dissolving the party, as per Article 36 of the party constitution, is the leadership at Najanankombi.
He also mentioned that the Najanankombi faction continues to receive funds from the Electoral Commission.
Continue to receive funds from the Electoral Commission, which funds are allocated to parties represented in Parliament in accordance with the law.
He labeled Arias Lukwago as an opportunist seeking to seize control of the FDC and render it irrelevant.
I want to invite our members listening to us in this country and all over the world to look at this critically and to analyze the intention of Lukwago, who has been running from party to party, killing these political organizations.
The Najanankombi faction advised the Katonga faction to leave the party peacefully.
As per their constitution, we, in the leadership of the FDC, have no objection with this kind of arrangement.
Power also scrutinized the leadership at Katonga.
Membership is renewed every year. These fund makers in Katonga, according to our records, have not renewed their membership in the last 4 years.
I'm Ivan Juko for UBC.
Over 800,000 residents of Mbale and surrounding areas are set to benefit from a new piped water supply system through the National Water and Sewage Corporation. This announcement was made by Engineer Dr. Silva Mugisha, Managing Director of National Water and Sewage Corporation, during the flagging off of Lot 2 of the Mbale Water Supply Project. The project includes the construction of Mbale's water distribution system and sanitation facilities.
The construction of the Mbale water distribution system and sanitation facilities is funded by the World Bank as part of the Integrated Water Management and Development Project.
The most important aspect of this is that it is the same contractor. Normally when we have two contractors, there are always some things you have to harmonize. So we now have one contractor, CCCC, who is going to do the production and also the transmission and distribution side. The total pipeline length is 51 kilometers, so it's quite a bit of work. And the pipe sizes are medium size, DN200 to DN400. That's not so big, so we don't expect you to have a lot of challenges. We are going to construct a booster station as part of the works and also construct 5 public toilets for the informal sector.
Engineer Dr. Silva Mugisha explained that the Mbale Water Supply and Sanitation System project is designed to provide medium to long-term solutions to water supply challenges in the area.
The total cost of the project is 28.9 billion Uganda shillings. And this is why I want to make a very, very strong call that Mr. Contractor, we don't expect cost overruns here. For us here, you do your work, don't expect us to vary the cost at whatever condition. So, and normally the mitigation for this is for you to do your work quickly. to try to do your work quickly. And maybe from my side, if there are decisions to make, we need to make sure we make those decisions quickly so that the contractor does not get challenges of prolongation costs.
He further detailed that the project is divided into packages, including construction works for water supply and sewerage systems, as well as water distribution and sanitation facilities.
And we expect to serve 850,000 people. Additional. That's quite a big population. So this is very good news for the people of Mbale, and I want to thank the government of Uganda, which has worked very closely with the financing partner, the World Bank, and of course they're also going to put money. At the end of the day, all this is Ugandan money.
The Ministry of Water and Environment, with support from UNICEF and other development partners, is developing a national adaptation plan for water, sanitation and hygiene, with the sole aim of strengthening the sector's resilience to impacts of climate change. The National Adaptation Plan will serve as the national WASH policy instrument for coordinating and driving actions of all actors and stakeholders in the sector.
Every other day, Uganda registers serious effects of climate change, mainly on the economy, livelihoods and environment, manifesting through droughts, floods and changes in rainfall patterns. Whereas mitigation efforts are known for reversing some of these effects, adaptation to climate change presents higher returns on investment, especially knowing that climate change is here to stay, thus the urgent need for a national adaptation plan.
Basically, adaptation is about trying to live with climate change, while mitigation we are trying to stop climate change from happening by reducing the greenhouse gas emissions. But we know that even if you take action, the impacts will not be seen in a short time. So you have to try and live with these changes.
Already, United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, is leading other development partners in an effort to cushion the country against these devastating effects.
UNICEF is supporting us to develop this plan and is putting in $100,000 for the plan only. But before we developed the plan, we did an analysis of trying to see how is climate change impacting Uganda, what are the challenges, what are the indicators of climate change. We called it vulnerability and risk assessment.
This was revealed at the launch of the process of the development of the National Adaptation Plan for Water, Sanitation and Hygiene, WASH. In a statement read on his behalf by the Commissioner for Climate Change, Margaret Mwebesa, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Water and Environment, revealed that the National Adaptation Planning process was established in 2010 to support least developed countries like Uganda in identifying medium and long-term adaptation needs informed by the latest climate science.
To operationalize the NAP process, the government through the Climate Change Department in our Ministry of Water and Environment has obtained a grant from the Green Climate Fund for a 3-year project to build capacity to advance the National Adaptation Plan process in the country.
We want to build the capacity. There will be a lot of trainings, a lot of workshops. So then, of course, we want also to develop project proposals which can be sold sent for funding.
Section 7 of the National Climate Change Act of 2021 mandates lead agencies and sectors to formulate their climate change action plans to assess the sector-specific mitigation potential, identify adaptation actions, and delivery mechanisms. Dorcas Kimono, UBC News.
UBC News Tonight takes a very short break, but I return with more stories after these messages.
You used to tell me that I don't make you happy. All that time you would be complaining. I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't go low.
You
can now get all the chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Once upon a time, there lived identical twins who gave birth to beautiful princes and princesses.
Their mothers gave their babies' bodies a lot of care by applying on their skin with baby Junior jelly.
Though dried their chariots and everyone would admire their glowing skin. Fun fact, baby Junior prevents diaper rash, dry and sensitive skin.
Moms all over Africa love baby Junior jelly. Baby Junior's the skin. No more worries anymore. Baby Junior.
Baby Junior.
Sometimes, the pressure of paying taxes can feel overwhelming. The temptation to cut corners and underdeclare your income may creep in. But before you make that choice, consider the cost. Underdeclaring taxes might seem like an easy way out, but the consequences can be severe. URA offers resources and payment plans to help you manage your taxes. You can pay in installments if it's difficult to pay in full. Transparency is key. Avoid penalties and unexpected liabilities by reporting everything accurately. To report corruption, call URA on our toll-free lines. Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Welcome back from that break. We're glad that you're still with us here at UBC News Tonight. In more news this evening, State Minister for Lands, Dr. Sam Mayanja, has taken decisive action in Sembabule district to address severe land disputes that have caused significant suffering among residents. During a visit to the district, Dr. Mayanja ordered the arrest of several individuals, including Benon Bulora, the Lugusulu NRM chairman, along with Kasande Joy, Bigots Magondo, and Bishop Senyonjo Christopher. They are all accused of torturing, evicting, and fraudulently obtaining land titles to displace residents from their legally allocated pieces of land.
During the meeting, residents of Sembabule district shared harrowing testimonies with the minister, Lubahamia Stephen, accused Benon Bulora of killing his cows, evicting him from his 176-acre land, and causing the death of his wife.
Kazi bamufurumya mu nyumba ne bamutta ne bammenya ekisambi ne bammenya omukono guno ogwa ddyo ne bamusalako akantu k'olulimi mu munaana. Kazi wange ne bamutta. Abantu bonna ne bajja ne baziika ne bantiisatiisa poliisi n'ebulora ne banzija mu ttaka era nkati ndi ku rent ndi mu tawuni Sembabule.
Similarly, Senkoto Francis described his ordeal of being beaten and tortured, which allegedly led to his hospitalization over a dispute involving 83 acres of land that he had purchased.
Naligula nalina ekyapa nga nabanguza weebali n'abanyinyi abalinako ebibanja n'enzikiziganya bwe ne mbasasula. Era ne mu lujja mu bankubira bakama baali ettaka baalinguza we nali. N'ekinnuma nnyo ne bajja ku Senkoto eyagula ettaka ate ekintu kyo ne bakiteeka wa pulezidenti nga bagamba nti Ssekikubo yatwala ettaka. Ettaka nze nalyegulira.
Other residents accused Lugobe William family and Bishop Senyonjo Christopher of similar acts of violence and illegal evictions. Dr. Mayanja, after getting the residents of land laws, ordered the immediate arrest of those involved in these fraudulent and violent activities.
Okyagenda mu kooti nga kifu ne judgment gye baawanfu n'abagikwata nti kituufu bafu Say public land because what we are dealing here is public land. Public land cannot be given away by district land board. If it is owned by any person or authority, that's section 59(1)(a) of the Land Act. If the district goes ahead and gives away land which is owned by any person or authority, that transaction is void. Therefore,
he also directed the cancellation of all fraudulently obtained land titles and instructed the resident district commissioner to ensure that the displaced residents are reaffirmed on their land with proper security provided.
A non-existent document because it didn't go through any transaction. And number three, the court sustaining it. That is a verdict against court. And I suspect it was all a concoction or a forgery. We shall investigate and arrest all those involved.
This intervention by Dr. Mayanja is part of an ongoing effort to resolve land-related injustices in Sembabule and protect the rights of the residents.
The Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Dr. Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, commended the Christian community for their support towards the church house loan completion. Dr. Kazimba was officiating at the opening of the 27th Provincial Assembly at the Uganda Christian University in Mukono, where he received a title of Church House from the Equity Bank.
Over the years, the Church of Uganda has been paying off a loan of over 65 billion shillings from Equity Bank. The Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, has commended the Christian community for the sacrifice in the clearing of the loan.
Church House, we have been jubilating. They have given us back the title because we are debt free. We are going to discuss on the area of media promotion, our televisions, our radios, how can we promote. Also the area of development, in the area of self-sustainability, especially when we have issues of homosexuality and so forth.
Equity Bank has handed over the land title for the church house, which was mortgaged for the loan. The bank has pledged to continue supporting the church through its long-term investments.
We are partnering with about 12 out of the 39 dioceses of Church of Uganda and are looking forward to partnering with more. We have offers for these dioceses for development projects, and we also work with them on financial literacy. They allow us to join the church sometimes and talk to the congregations.
Meanwhile, Uganda Revenue Authority used this opportunity to engage clerics in the Provincial Assembly on tax collection and management.
The church has a role in discussing issues of accountability, transparency, optimal utilization of these taxes. But we must first collect. Where we are today, we are simply not collecting enough to spur development. 13, the minimum for development is 20% of the GDP.
It's something we need to partner and see how the church can partner with URA to collect revenue, because when we don't collect tax, there's no way we can develop, and there are many tax defrauders. But also, we have been able to know how some people can be exempted from tax. And who are those? We have learned that. We have also learned that we must be compliant.
The Provincial Assembly by the Church of Uganda is convened once in 2 years and is comprised of delegates from the House of Bishops and the House of Clergy to deliberate on different strategies to guide the church. Komagum Rogers and Abdul Nasir Luwama for UBC.
The Assistant Commissioner in charge of Youth Development at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Chateka Mondo, emphasized the need to equip young people with the skills required to thrive in today's labour market. He made these remarks during the first joint Youth Can Exchange International Conference organized by SOS Children's Villages of Uganda and Rwanda, held at Hotel Africana in Kampala.
but there is also...
With more than 70% of Uganda's population being youth, the urgency to provide them with relevant 21st century skills has never been greater. Chetek highlighted that the Youth Can project implemented by SOS Children's Villages is a game changer in enhancing the employability prospects of this youthful population.
We are trying to ensure that the labor market information system informs the training needs of the country. Because if we just train without looking at the requisite skills that are required in the labor market, then we make a mistake. We don't want to train today what was required yesterday. We need to train people today who can be absorbed within the labor market. So what you are talking about, the issue of asking for experience, the medicine for this is through programs like Youth Can programs, where young people spend some time being coached.
SOS Children's Villages, renowned for their dedication to supporting orphaned, neglected and abandoned children, are making significant strides with the Youth Can project.
This Youth Can project has been implemented during the last 3 years. 2024, we are coming to an end, so it is a 3 years project. Training in different skills, for example, in computer training. For those people who are looking for jobs, it can be related to how to understand the labor market or how to write their CVs, curriculum vitae, and also in terms of connecting large number of young people.
This initiative aims to improve the employability prospects of the youth they support, particularly those from disadvantaged backgrounds.
One of the standout challenges affecting youth penetration into the job world is the mismatch between the education sector and the market demands in the labor world.
And we designed activities that were tailor-made to the needs of our young people. So we had been addressing critical 3 strategic objectives. Number 1 being direct support to young people, where we ensured that we are designing, financing some startup project for the young people.
The program specifically targets over 1,050 young people, 400 from Uganda and 650 from Rwanda, many of whom come from challenging circumstances, including single mother families. Crispus Alinitwe, Dan Lugemwa, UBC News.
Uganda fire! Endiva fire! Ababona fire!
Uganda! Thank you for showing your fire! Has Nambole Stadium opened its doors once again?
Fire!
While you were warm up in it, you were the 12th player. When Uganda Cranes needed you the most.
Fire!
Through our famous wins against Tubakunda and our unlucky losses, you stood firm, supporting even louder.
Fire!
Now, as Uganda Cranes take on South Africa and Congo this September, South Sudan in October, and play our second legs against South Africa and Congo in November, bring even more fire! Because with your support, Uganda Cranes is unstoppable! Uganda Fire! Proudly brought to you by MTN, the #1 supporter of Uganda Cranes. Together, we are unstoppable.
Where does it come from? That thing that makes us Ugandan. Some say it's in our history, in our culture, and in our hearts, in our warm smiles and vast miles of coffee. It's in our inherent pursuit to always be better, to never stop growing and glowing. We are a nation of sweat and skills, a nation of ideas and inventions. But what truly makes us Ugandan is our quest to invest in agribusiness, manufacturing, tourism, infrastructure, health and education to improve the quality of life of Ugandans. That's what makes us Uganda Development Bank.
Uganda Development Bank, inspiring development.
It's true what people say, that when I wash and you wash your hands with soap, we'll have less infections as Ugandans. After all, it's hands that handle money It's hands that feed us, hands that prepare soil for farming, hands that we use to learn, and hands that we use for fun.
When I wash and you wash, it means clean hands for all. So, wash your hands with soap and clean water regularly to keep away infections and disease-causing germs. This message is from the National Hand Washing Secretariat with support from UNICEF.
Welcome back. Now into the business scene. The Uganda Wildlife Authority has resumed hiking services to Margarita Peak in Kasese district, offering adventurers a chance to experience the breathtaking beauty of the region. This comes after a temporary suspension of activities due to receding snow, which had created a depression that affected the hiking experience. The warden of Rwenzori Mountain National Park, George Businje, highlights that the impacts of global warming are becoming increasingly evident in the district, causing shifts in wildlife adaptation.
Margarita Peak, the highest point in Uganda, attracts thousands of tourists eager to witness the natural beauty of the Pearl of Africa. At 5,109 meters above sea level, equivalent to 5.1 kilometers, the trek to the peak and back takes a total of 7 days, including rest days in camps.
And once you reach there, you really feel very proud.
The experience includes appreciating various species of wild plants and animals before reaching the stunning view at the highest point.
The endemic species of plants and animals we have here. We have animals that are specifically here in Rwenzori Mountains National Park, like the Rwenzori Daika, the Rwenzori Turako, endemic here.
The cost for this experience ranges between 900 and 1,500, or 3.3 to 5.5 million Uganda shillings, depending on the concessionaires. Rwenzori Mountaineering and Rwenzori Trekking Services guide clients through this adventure.
This cost include the park entrance fees, the franchise fees, the VAT, which is 18%, of the total money a client pays. Then we give, it includes the porters and guides and chefs' food and charcoal fuel. It includes the cost of the chef that cooks for the clients. It includes clients' food. It includes trail maintenance. It includes accommodation in the mountain huts, and then administration plus the residues.
Safety is a priority, and individuals with medical conditions are advised against trekking to the colder regions of the mountain,
especially to deal with the respiratory system. Then you are not advised. Things like asthma.
For example, you need to take frequent drinking of water because these high altitude sicknesses are always up there. But as well as you need to be energetic and healthy.
However, emergency teams are always on standby to evacuate anyone who encounters challenges during the hike.
It's composed of locals. These are people who are born around here. They live around the mountain, the Rwenzori area. So they move very fast, carry you on the stretcher, bring you out. In maybe 2 days. For them, they move very fast because they are born around here. So we have a rescue team standby.
The Uganda Wildlife Authority had temporarily suspended activities to Margarita Peak due to melting glaciers, creating a depression that affected the hiking experience.
Then find stamina. We realized the crevasses. These are the holes when the snow recedes that were not easily accessible. You couldn't easily cross them to go to the Margarita Peak.
A team of engineers was deployed to erect a bridge to facilitate movement at the highest elevation of Margarita Peak.
We have actually resumed the hikes to the Margarita Peak. So the hiking activities to the Margarita Peak, which had been put on hold due to safety issues, we've been working tirelessly to ensure that we open up that route before the marathon starts. And therefore, from today onwards, if you want to go to the Margarita, you can actually go because we've enhanced the safety measures there, and so people are able to actually go and hike.
The depression resulted from global warming, which continues to pose a threat to the natural environment. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News.
Well, hiking an activity that is not for the faint-hearted, but for the strong-willed. Thank you, Ivan Kawa, for that. Now, Chambogo University's Barclays Library has undergone a major transformation thanks to rehabilitation efforts by Starbex International, an oil marketing company, and the management of the university. The initiative is part of the oil company's broader initiative aimed at empowering students, enhancing academic excellence, and addressing educational challenges in under-resourced areas.
We are gathered here to hand over the renovation of a library on Chambogo. It's just the startup and the beginning of a beautiful relationship that we intend to have with the Chambogo University in the areas of research, in the eco-mobility, in quality control. So we intend to have a fully fledged library and a lab that will take care of all the needs in the sector.
Starbex has renovated the space and it looks beautiful, and we hope that it will inspire our students to develop novel innovations and novel ideas that will transform probably our country. So this is a very significant contribution that Starbex has made to the academic landscape of Chambogo University.
This is just the beginning of a great list of partnerships that we have outlined to do with universities. Since now we are focusing on renewable energy, and we are looking at our long-term strategy of phasing out the fossil fuels and purely going eco-friendly fuels. So that is why we choose now to partner with universities, also for research purposes and also to make sure that we're on the right track and we're not left out of the moving trend globally.
Royal Challenge presents African Culture Show 2024. From 5th to 7th September, African countries will showcase their cultural lifestyles of food, dances, poetry, clothing, and we shall also have live African traditional performances. We shall be at Kololo Independence Grounds starting at 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. at only 50,000 shillings. Dressing code is African culture wear. Come see countries like Nigeria, Ghana, Egypt, Libya, plus visiting countries like Brazil, India, China, and many more, showcasing their traditional cultural lifestyles.
The East Africa UK Tourism and Culture Expo 2024 is here, happening on 8th and 9th of November 2024 under the theme Enhancing Tourism as Engine for Social and Economic Transformation on the sidelines of WTM London at the Rembrandt Hotel, 11th Thalo, PI South Kensington, London, SW7 2RS, United Kingdom. For tickets, exhibitors will pay £1,000 and participants will pay £300. For more information, call +256 787 096 100 or +254 795 806 969. Visit www.eauktourismexpo.com to register.
Welcome back, and now into sports. The National Basketball League semi-final playoffs action has continued at the MTN Arena. Our reporter has the details.
In the women's category, Uganda Christian University Lady Cannons faced Kampala International University Rangers with the teams level at 1-1 in this best-of-5 semi-final series. It was a tight game, ultimately won 52-48 by Uganda Christian, playing here in the blue jersey. Shakira Navubia was the star performer with 14 points, but the contribution of Bridget Abba, who managed 8 points and 13 rebounds, was also pivotal. Uganda Christian University Lady Cannons will look to seal a slot into the final upon victory in Game 4 on Thursday. In the men's division, Namongo Blazers faced Kampala International University Titans with the teams level at 1-1. Namongo started the stronger and took a first quarter 21 11 lead. An inspired KIU Titans second and third quarter performance tilted the tie in its favor, and despite a strong Namongo final quarter, held on to win by 2, 76-74. The 2-meter gain on Thursday with KIU looking for victory to enter the final, while Namongo seeks to level the series and force a decider. Action continues this evening with Game 3 for JKL Lady Dolphins that leads Jetty Jaguars 2-0 and City Oilers that is also 2-0 up over Uganda Christian University Cannons. Ngabo Amon reporting for UBC TV.
The Federation of East African Schools Sports Association Games have entered day 4 with action at Bukedia Comprehensive School and several other venues. We have the details.
In boys badminton, Kinawa High School has beaten St. Mary's College Kisubi 5-0. Kibuli SS humbled Kenya F4-1, while Kakungulu Memorial edged Kenya B3-2.
Day 3 has been so tricky for us because they had a 4-1 win against Kenya A. So far, we are still on the top, and we are hoping to maintain it till the last game.
In girls badminton, Arubaga girls outclassed Kenya F4-1. Mbogo High School walloped Kenya B5-0, and Progressive SS were 3-2 winners over Kakungulu.
Our day 3 has not moved very bad. It has moved very well because we have won the games. But at first we thought that we are going to win 3 straight, but it has not worked very well.
In girls basketball 5-a-side, there were victories for St. Mary's Boarding School Kitende, Kenya's Butere girls and Uganda St. Noah girls, while in 3x3 basketball, Amus College School beat Kenya's Onjiko High School 20-11.
Okay, edited. Be aggressive. Just like the last basket that is scored, the concentration was there. We need the same concentration.
In boys football, APE Rugunga of Rwanda edged St. Julian 2-1. Rays of Grace and Mokono Junior ended scoreless in the primary category, while Bukedia Comprehensive has drawn another game against Kenya's Kitale.
Yes, we played against the Kenyan team, but they are so physical. Because yesterday we played against St. Mary's College, also a tough game yesterday we played. But right now we are remaining with 1 match to go, and then we need at least to win that match against the Kenyan team.
In netball, Budo SS walloped Rwanda's Gahini 80-18, while St. Mary's Boarding School Kitende emerged 49-25 winners over Bumala. In handball, Uganda's Bogo Mixed and Kenya's Hospital Hill shared the spoils 24-all. Wampeo beat Kenya's Kimili 23-20, and Bombo Ame got a 24-20 victory over Kenya's Siniak among the boys. In the girls category, Gombe edged compatriots Mbogo High 23-22 in an epic tie, while Kirombero of Tanzania beat Kenya's Murinduku. In girls rugby sevens, St. Joseph of Kenya beat Jinja SS 5-0, while Uganda's Nkoma SS walloped Kenya's Nyangi Cheche 25-5. In boys rugby sevens, Jinja SS and London College got victories, while Kenya's All Saints, St. Mary's College Kisubi and Kenya's Butala and Kitondo got victory in rugby 15s.
And with that, UBC News Tonight has come to an end. Thank you so much for your company. Do enjoy much more of UBC's programming. I'm Lauryn Masika Kazimoto and my colleague Yusuf Senyamo. We wish you a good night.
The family of Mr. Joko Jara, CFX, Cyprian Felix Zixtas, mourns his passing on August 16, 2024 at Mlago National Referral Hospital. Funeral services will be held at St. Joseph's Chapel, Mlago on August 22nd at 10 a.m., followed by a requiem mass on August 30th at his home in Peche Pawel, Gulu at 4 p.m. Burial will be on August 31st at his home in Peche Pawel, Gulu district. Mr. Joko Jara CFX was a distinguished senior citizen, tutor, former chairman of the Padel District Service Commission and founder of Human Rights Focus, HURIFO. He was honored by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni in 2014 for his contributions to peace and translation work. May his soul rest in peace.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Uganda, are you ready to kick things up to the next level? The Uganda National Lottery brings you Sports Take 10. Predict the results of 10 football games and win big. With tickets at only 500 shillings, join the fun and make your predictions count with Sports Take 10. Sports Take 10, your ticket to football glory.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
It's true what people say, that when I wash and you wash your hands with soap, we'll have less infections as Ugandans. After all, it's hands that handle money. It's hands that feed us. Hands that prepare soil for farming. Hands that we use to learn. And hands that we use for fun.
When I wash and you wash, it means clean hands for all. So, wash your hands with soap and clean water regularly to keep away infections and disease-causing germs. This message is from the National Hand Washing Secretariat with support from UNICEF.
MTN ekutusako papapatatuwa musonga kati nukuwa mukaganga asatu mu mwezi guno gwa munana jangu kudamuzu watakulaga backgrounds tunyumirwe ng'okuyingira jijja kuba emitwalo 2 naye tiketi wogigulira ku MTN momo ogifuna ku mutwalo gumu ye ya VIP ya mitwalo 3 kati nonyiga *165*2 noti hash oba kozesa momo app weegulire tiketi yo ku MTN momo ku bei rahisi tosubwa abayimbi bonna ab'e Kampala n'ab'e Busoga papapatene tegekeddwa Douglas Lwanga ne kutuusibwako MTN.
Together, we're unstoppable. UBC, inspiring Uganda.